Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Guns and Guitars. It's good to see you guys again. Today I've got something really special for you. At least it's very special to me, because if you've been around on my channel for very long, you know that I am a huge fan of 12-gauge shotguns. They're just the most versatile firearm you could own, and they are just a blast to shoot. So I've always wanted a semi-automatic magazine-fed shotgun. And so when I walked into J&G Sales and I saw this thing hanging up on the wall, I just knew that I was going to be going home with it someday. Now, I have a really good relationship with the guys over at J&G Sales, so they actually sent it home with me that same day for review. So pretty awesome of them. So why do I need a semi-automatic magazine-fed shotgun? Because America, that's why. And nothing says America like a Soviet-designed rifle manufactured in China, right? Okay, all kidding aside, why you would want a firearm like this? For competition use. I would love to get into 3-gun competition, and having a magazine-fed semi-automatic shotgun, you'd just be able to let off shots a lot quicker and reload a lot quicker than any other shotgun. So it's very obvious that this thing is built to compete right out of the box. It is a Saiga 12 clone, and while it is manufactured in China and it comes in at about half the price that you would expect to pay for a Saiga 12 or a Vepr 12, don't let that turn you off. This thing comes with more features out of the box, and I expect the longevity and lifespan to be longer than that of a Saiga 12 or a Vepr 12. So if you've ever wanted to get an AK style shotgun, you definitely want to stick around to watch this review. I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars, and this is the iArms EM12B, available at J&G Sales. Now, when you first open this box, you'll immediately see that this thing comes with 2 5-round mags from the factory. It also comes with 3 chokes. 2 are right there in the box, the modified and the full choke, and then the improved cylinder choke is pre-installed on the rifle. And out of the box, it does come with a lot of upgrades that you wouldn't typically see on a Saiga 12 or a Vepr 12 right out of the box. So firstly, there's a pistol grip buttstock as opposed to a standard rifle buttstock. Sometimes you will see those out of the box on a Vepr or a Saiga 12, but it's nice that this one always comes like that. But the biggest upgrades on this thing is that you have an M-LOK forend and a full-length tactical rail. You have a competition magwell for increased speed when reloading. But perhaps the coolest feature on this rifle is the adjustable gas system, okay? You won't see that typically out of the box on a Saiga 12 or a Vepr 12, and that's for increased reliability, cycling different types of ammo. So there's 4 settings. There's off, so that's if you want to manually cycle the bolt. And then there's 1, 2, and 3 that are just increasing sizes of the gas orifice. Now, aside from the improved reliability, cycling different types of loads, this is awesome because it's going to increase the lifespan of this, because if you do happen to get a Vepr 12 or a Saiga 12 that does reliably cycle low brass birdshot, which is a bit of a stretch for those guns, by the way, but if you do get one and it is cycling the low brass birdshot fine, then likely when you're shooting buckshot or slugs, it's going to be overgassed and there's going to be extra stress on the internal components. So being able to adjust the gas system so you're not overgassed on the heavier hitting loads, but you can still reliably cycle low brass birdshot, that is just an amazing feature. This gun also works with Saiga 12 magazines, which is a really cool feature because you can get some really cool high capacity magazines for it. Now, unfortunately, because of the competition magwell, it does not work with drum style magazines. It only works with stick style magazines. So right out of the box, you know that this thing is meant to compete, okay? The competition magwell is excellent for faster reloads, and if you're competing with a shotgun and carrying extra mags on you. Likely they are not drum mags because you'd have to carry them in a backpack. There are no mag pouches that will fit a 20-round drum mag, okay? But on the other hand, you can fit one of these awesome SGM tactical 12-round stick mags in a typical mag pouch and use it for competition. Now, the factory magazines feature steel feed lips, which is awesome because if you are competing, you are dropping these things frequently in the dirt, so that'll prevent them from getting chewed up. As for the sights that come on the firearm, you just have your typical AK style sights. So you've got your rear sight that's adjustable for elevation, you got your front sight that's adjustable for windage if you have an AK front sight adjustment tool, or you can use the standard hammer and socket method, which is what I did to drift mine a little bit. All right, that's enough about the features. Let's take it to the range and see how it does. J&G gave me this ammo. It's S&B double-aught buckshot. It's high brass, so we're gonna break it in with that. According to the owner's manual, it says you want to break it in with 50 rounds of high brass buckshot. So we're gonna run 50 rounds through that before we do anything else. All right, let's try it out. So here we have the first 5 rounds, the S&B high brass double-aught buckshot. Now during the break-in period with the S&B buckshot, I didn't have much luck. I had multiple failures to extract over and over again during that first 50 rounds. Now I don't know if that's because the gun was breaking in, or if because the magazines were still breaking in, or if it just didn't like S&B ammo. That's what I suspect, because the S&B buckshot has a roll crimp as opposed to the standard star crimp. And when I went back to the range a few days later with some different types of buckshot, I had 100% reliability. So I suspect that it was the ammo, but again, it's possible that the gun was just broken in at that point. All right, so this is a 12-round SGM magazine that J&G gave me to try out in this gun. It's a Saiga 12 magazine, not designed specifically for this gun, but this gun claims to use Saiga 12 magazines. So we're gonna give it a shot. It's a 12-round magazine. These are also available at J&G sales. All right, 12 rounds, double-aught buck. Are you kidding me right now? Does not seem like it's going to stay in very well. These do not stay in. So mine has an issue where the mag just doesn't want to stay in, at least with this particular brand of mag. So I'm not gonna fire this one anymore. Now you guys are probably thinking, what the heck, Dan? You told us that this thing works with Saiga 12 magazines. Well, it does. You just have to do a slight modification to it that takes about 30 seconds. You can do it with simple household items that you already have, and it does not permanently modify your magazine. And I will show you how to do that a little bit later. But first, let's see this thing cycle some birdshot. Okay, so now we got the 5-round factory magazine loaded up with NSI low brass birdshot, 1 1/8 ounce, 7.5 shot. So this is the ammo that J&G gave me and said, if it doesn't cycle reliably with any ammo, it's gonna be this ammo. So I really don't have high hopes, especially since the ammo they said it would cycle with didn't cycle. And of course that gave us 100% reliability, so who knows what's going on. Now, I'd never fired NSI birdshot before making this video, and I likely wouldn't have tried it if J&G hadn't given it to me, because I typically go for the cheapest Walmart Winchester Federal bulk packs that you can get. But that NSI ammo, that stuff's actually really good. It cycled perfectly reliably in this firearm, and I've used it in some other shotguns that I've had since, and it's fantastic. So I'll definitely be going back for some more of that. Got another mag, but I don't have any more birds set up, so I'm just gonna do as fast as I can, rapid fire. See if it's still reliable. This thing kicks like a mule, so I'll try not to fall on my butt. Perfectly fast. Definitely got to brace yourself for that. We're gonna try some different ammo because that NSI was working just fine, especially on the 3rd gas setting. So I'm gonna leave it on the 3rd gas setting. I'm guessing that's what that setting is for, is for birdshot. So here we've got regular plain old Walmart Universal Winchester. This is some of my favorite ammo, mostly because it's cheap, right? So you can buy a bunch of it at Walmart for really cheap. Cycles just fine in my other shotguns. We'll see what happens in this one. Perfect reliability. Try another mag, same stuff. Works just fine. All right, we got another mag of the Winchester, cycling just fine. We changed out the choke for the modified choke. Now we're actually gonna try to hit some targets, again at about 10, 12 yards. Now while I was filming this, where I lived was in a county-wide fire ban, so I couldn't go out into the wilderness and throw clays, so at the gun range I had to get a little bit creative. All right, so what's going on here is my sights are actually hitting a little bit low. And a feature on this gun, it's got adjustable sights very similar to an AK. So I'm actually just gonna slide that up to the next setting. Got our sights adjusted a little bit. We'll see how this works out now. All right. Well, much more accurate now. course, I hit my sign and knocked down some of my targets. All right, 5 more rounds, Winchester, rapid fire, just because I need to practice this thing not kicking my butt every time I rapid fire shoot it. I love that this thing shoots Winchester just fine because it is my favorite ammo and it's cheap, so at least you can have fun with it. All right, so the Walmart Winchester functioned 100% reliable, so let's try the Walmart Federal. Again, this is low brass, birdshot. This is 8 ounce, this was 8 shot. The Winchester was 7.5 shot, both 1 1/8 ounce. So let's give it a shot, see if this is just as reliable. %100% reliable. Rapid fire, again for my practice. Gosh dang it, gets me every time. More than 5 shots, I don't think I can handle. All right, here we're shooting the Federal again. I did swap out the choke for the full choke so we can see if we can get an even tighter pattern here. Pretty much shot the crap out of my cardboard, so I think the clays are probably not gonna stay up regardless, but try anyway. Well, that's 100% reliability with every birdshot that we've put through it. Let's put some slugs through it, see what happens. All right, so here we got some Federal slugs. I went ahead and put the improved cylinder choke back in because that's what's recommended for slugs. So we're gonna shoot off 5 rounds. I've set up a reactive target downrange, so we should be able to see how this works. Again, we're gonna do 10, 12 yards right here, and then if it looks like it's patterning good, we might step it back a little bit further. Quite a bit low. Looks like the same spot, so I'm gonna go ahead and move the sight up another notch. A little bit high that time. Again, high. See if I can split the difference. One thing that I did forget to do that probably shouldn't have forgotten is that I forgot to change the gas orifice back to the smaller setting, which with slugs probably definitely need. So probably not super good on the gun to run on that 3rd gas setting, so I'm gonna move it back to the 1st. Try it again, another 5 rounds. All right, a bit low that time. So it is grouping together fairly tight. Again, I'm shooting offhand here, and I'm not by any means an expert with these rifles. All right, again, shooting some Federal slugs. See if we can't land them in the center of the target this time. A little low. Same spot. Oh no. Same spot. Still shooting low. Now, let's back it up a little bit. See how it does from further range. Pretty tight grouping. The flyers, I think, are a result of my shoulder getting sore, so I'm starting to flinch as I pull the trigger. But here we're backing up to our 25-yard marker. 5 more rounds of Federal slugs. And I'm gonna take a knee so I can hold it a little more steady. We'll see how we do. All right, so if you look at our group, the first 3 shots actually landed in one hole right here. And then the other shots kind of scattered a little bit more. That's a result of me flinching when pulling the trigger because, man, that thing is a bruiser shooting 20 rounds of slugs. Hopefully you're never in a predicament where you need to shoot 20 rounds of slugs in a row. I certainly never want to be in that predicament. But man, that thing is a bruiser. So nice wide group because I'm not a man, but not because of the shotgun. The shotgun is actually patterning just fine at 25 yards. So Now this thing did struggle for some reason to extract that SMB double-aught buckshot, and I don't know what that was all about, but I was not content knowing that this thing can cycle low brass birdshot 100% reliability, but not buckshot. That just doesn't make any sense. So on a different day, I went back to the range with a couple of different types of buckshot. I took just the Walmart standard Federal and Winchester buckshot, and this thing cycled with 100% reliability. So I don't know if at that point this gun was just broken in, the magazines were broken in, or if it just didn't like the roll crimp style shotgun shell of the SNB buckshot as opposed to the standard star crimp that you'll find on the Federal or Winchester. I suspect that it was the ammo, but it could have been the break-in period. Either way, the gun does function with 100% reliability now. 100% reliability. Also, once the fire ban was rescinded in my county, I did take this thing back out into the wilderness to hit some clays flying in the air. Now, I didn't have my buddy with me to help film this time, so the angles are not that great. You're just gonna have to take my word for it that I am actually hitting these clays. You'll also notice in this footage that I'm shooting with this Bushnell TRS-25 red dot sight. Now this is an excellent little budget optic at less than $50, and it can handle the recoil of a 12 gauge shotgun, no problem. And if you've never shot a shotgun with a red dot sight, it's basically cheating. I mean, I didn't bother sighting this thing in, I just pulled it off of my AR. I even left the AR riser on there, which probably wasn't doing me any favors, but I didn't even have to put the dot on the clay in order to bust it. Basically, if the clay was in the window and the dot was in the window at the same time, it just exploded. So this thing was just a blast to shoot with the optic on it. I'm gonna buy its own dedicated optic and put this one back on my AR. But since I was hitting them consistently from the thrower, I decided to get a little more random trajectory. I would just throw them myself with a hand thrower. So I started out with one clay, no problem. Switched to two clays, a little more difficult throwing and hitting two clays at a time. But still, this gun didn't seem to struggle hitting that stuff at all, especially with this optic. So definitely a cool little accessory that you can get for it. It's a really nice feature that this thing comes from the factory with a tactical rail so that you can do that. Like I said before, this thing is clearly meant for competition. So you can throw in higher capacity magazines, you can throw on optics, you can adjust the gas setting for whatever load you're gonna be shooting. It's pretty dang awesome. Okay guys, we're gonna take a closer look at what's going on with this SGM tactical magazine, okay, because this gun does use Saiga magazines. So if you look at the factory magazine, when you compare it, get this in focus here, we've got the feed lips are in the correct spots, these little locking hinges are in the correct spots that they're supposed to be in. So this magazine should work. The difference is, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and show you, I have a chamber flag in here right now, so we are safe. There's no ammo in the gun, no ammo in the mags. So, as you can see, the difference between these two mags are these little wings right here on the sides of the factory mag. So what that does is that holds it in place in the mag well. So I'll demonstrate. This thing doesn't have the wings, so when we insert it in, it locks in just like that. You can see that there's lots of extra play in there. So when I pull back on this magazine, it can actually slide right back out. So I'll demonstrate again, so camera wasn't quite in focus. All right, so that's locked in. Pull back on the magazine, and then it slides right back out, okay? So, whereas this one, because it has those wings on there, inserts in, and then there's no play, right? So no matter how hard I tug on this, I cannot get it to come out. So, the good news is, in order to modify this magazine to work, we're not gonna have to do any trimming or anything that would like permanently modify this magazine. We just need to add on those little wings. So I'm gonna show you how to do that with some simple household items. Here we've got some drywall anchors, some electrical tape, and what we're gonna do is these drywall anchors here are about the perfect size of one of those wings. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mark real quick where that wing should go, about-ish, on both sides. Okay, and I have not tested this theory, so this may be a fail right here on camera, but I'm gonna bank that it's not because it seems like the solution will be that simple. So just taping these two little drywall anchors together, I'm gonna place them right over that line that I just drew. Then with this third drywall anchor, do the same thing on the other side. Place it just right over that line that I drew. Okay, so obviously that's really ghetto, but let's go ahead and wrap it with some electrical tape for added durability, and we'll see what comes of this thing. They both got wings, right? So let's give it a shot. Plug this guy in, clicks right in, and look at that. I cannot pull that thing loose anymore. Okay, so again, haven't tested it, so we're gonna have to go to the range to see if that fix was just that easy. But so far, I mean, it did hang up a little bit. Maybe that was my fault. Let's see. So it was my fault. These do just insert that easily, pull out that easily. So it is good to go. Let's go give it a shot. Mag still wants to stay in nice and tight, so that's good. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so we got good function with birdshot. Let's try it with some buckshot. Here I'm loaded up with 10 rounds of buckshot. I don't actually have a full 12 to run through it today, so we'll just try 10, see what happens. Locked in. Still can't pull that magazine out the way I could before, so that's a good sign. It's holding up okay. There we go. The mod works. Obviously, this is a really ghetto mod, and probably, I mean, I don't know, it's holding up pretty well, but over sustained use, that electrical tape is, you know, it just turns into a gummy mess over time. So you probably wouldn't want to trust your life to it or even a competition to it. So have to come up with a more permanent solution, probably that involves super glue. So anyway, the purpose of this demo is just to tell you that this thing does in fact work with Sega 12 magazines. You just might have to do a little modification, but luckily the modification won't permanently change or damage your magazine at all, because you can always just pull that electrical tape off, and there you go. So now you've watched this review, you're super pumped, you're about ready to go out and buy one of these. I did. I went back to J&G Sales and I bought this thing. So, I mean, they pretty much knew when they sent it home with me for review that that thing was never coming back. So, excellent sales strategy, J&G. It totally worked. I came back, as you know, and paid for the firearm. But I got some bad news for you. They actually don't have it available for sale right now. Their importer is no longer importing them. So they're working on finding another importer. They expect to have more in at the end of the summer. So check back on their website for that. But just want to be clear, I am not promoting the sale of this firearm. I am not allowed to on YouTube, so I'm not going to give you the J&G website or contact information. You're going to have to look that up on your own if you want to see if they have these in stock and what the price is currently. So again, thank you J&G for providing this firearm for my review. Excellent sales strategy, because you know I went back and bought it. Subscribe if you want to see more gun and guitar videos. I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars. Thanks for watching.